I'm Josh, this is Realtree's Deer Hunting Question of the Week, and this week our question comes from Robbie. Robbie's question is, I have a buck coming to my stand almost every day. My problem is it's between 1 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. Is there anything I can do to get that deer in front of my stand during daylight? Robbie, that's a very good question. That can mean one of two things. The first thing, and generally the most common, it means that you're outside of that deer's core area. Now, a deer will live in its home range, which is usually about 600 acres approximately. But its core area is about 50 to 60 acres. And a buck will spend most of its time on that 50 to 60 acres. It's almost impossible, unless hunting during the rut, it's almost impossible to kill a buck unless you're within that core area. Sometimes that number changes or varies, but that's a good number to follow, a good number to go by. And if that's the case, you've got to get closer to that deer. There's no way around it but to get closer to that deer. If you're hunting a small piece of property, this can be tough. This can be limiting. If you're hunting public land where you've got room to move, then it's a little bit easier. Or if you're hunting a large chunk of private land. But there's another possible answer. There have been so many times whenever I've put trail cameras out and got pictures of bucks that would only hit my cameras really late at night or really early in the morning, and only to have killed the deer later on, even prior to the rut. What I did was I started moving my cameras around. Even on small properties, I started moving cameras around. And what I found is, just because you're getting pictures of a buck really late at night or really early in the morning doesn't mean he's that far away. It's possible that you're just not on his preferred path or preferred route from his bed to his primary feeding source of an afternoon, or you're not on his primary travel route from food source back to bedding of a morning. So basically, the first thing that you need to do is figure out if you're in that deer's core area or not. You do that by moving cameras around, by scouting. If you determine your camera is not in that deer's core area, you've got to move. Start moving those cameras around, figuring out where his core area is. Because you can be inside of that deer's home range, but not inside of his core area, and you're going to have very limited opportunities of killing that deer unless you're hunting during the rut. If you've decided that you are in that deer's core area, and you'll know if you are or not by the frequency that he visits your camera sites. So if you're getting a lot of pictures on your camera, but it's not during daytime hours, chances are you are in the deer's core area or close to it, but you're not on that deer's preferred route from his bedding area to his preferred food source of an afternoon, and then vice versa in the morning. The best thing to do is figure out exactly where that deer's bedding at, move those cameras around, but don't be too invasive. You don't want to spook that deer off. And once you figure out where that deer's bedding at, you want to get as close to that bedding area as possible, get on the downwind side, get between his bedding area and his food source, and then you're going to have a lot better chance of killing that deer. That's this week's Realtree Deer Hunting Question of the Week. Come back next week. We'll see you right here.